In addition to Brashard Smith, an uninspiring depth chart, giving him potential path to carries, path to usage, I do see the Bears being a wide open depth chart right now. So Kyle Monangai coming in from Rutgers, also going at the end of rookie drafts, a round 4 pick. A guy that I could see carving out that kind of big back. This is Ben Johnson's offense, and I could see him taking over that Montgomery, Jamal Williams style big back role. I know this is not the Lions, yet we've seen this backfield back-to-back years under Ben Johnson lead the NFL in expected fantasy points, so usage, and then actual fantasy points, the production. Both are lining up because it is such a good scheme with tons of volume, both in the pass game and then also at the goal line, going to running backs. In 2022, Jamal Williams led the NFL with 17 touchdowns. And then in 14 games in back-to-back seasons, Montgomery went for 13 touchdowns and 12 touchdowns. And so whoever ends up being that big back, and I don't think it's going to be DeAndre Swift. We've already seen Ben Johnson have trade away DeAndre Swift. And I like Swift in redraft. I think he could have a bounce back year and play a very light Jahmyr Gibbs style role and be explosive and all that. Yet there's going to be a touchdown roll up for grabs. I don't think they're going to shove that onto DeAndre Swift's plate. So maybe it's Roschon Johnson, who I do think is a viable sleeper, someone to buy into now. But the handpicked guy was Kyle Monangai. I get it. They wanted Travion Henderson. They wanted all these other guys that just didn't end up falling to them. And the one that they ended up pulling the trigger to was Kyle Monangai, who is a bruiser in the Big Ten, a Power 5 conference on a dog crap team. This guy absolutely thrived. He was fed a ton of volume, 270 touches for 1,300 yards and 14 touches, and 250 touches for 1,300 yards and 8 touchdowns in back-to-back seasons. They built the plane out of Kyle Monangai as a player, and he's nothing special, no real long speed, not a freak athlete or anything of that nature. But we got these tweets in the offseason. Ben Devine of Chicago NFL saying the Bears discussed adding another running back. There was Nick Chubb. There's J.K. Dobbins. There was plenty of guys they could have plucked off and gotten surefire production from in that big back role. But he says 7th-round pick Kyle Monangai, after seeing what they had, that notion has been tabled. There's a real chance for him to be the number 2 back and see meaningful carries as a rookie. So meaningful carries, a Ben Johnson offense, an offense I think takes a big step. Again, yes, it's not the Lions. It's not the Lions line, but they made some huge additions in terms of Tooney, Jonah Jackson. They got Drew Dahlman at center, the top center in free agency, and already they're getting graded as a top 5 run blocking line if you average the PFF grades there. So I think this offense takes a huge step. I think the running game takes a big step, and somebody alongside DeAndre Swift is going to carve out a meaningful role. Why not the guy they handpicked here? I don't know much. I'm not that impressed with Roschon Johnson so far. So I think that role is wide open. Whether it's Johnson, whether it's Monangai, somebody's going to get that role. And I think it's Monangai, and I love him in round 4 of drafts. I know you're not a favorite. He's not one of the favorite of yours. I don't love the talent either. It's more so picking out the role. What do you think, though? Do you think there's any upside here?
I don't really love Kyle Monangai. I think he was in my somewhere late teens, early 20s for running backs in this class. He was 6th in PFF grade as a junior, but kind of fell off as a senior this past season. Had a very measly sophomore year, didn't really do much. I'm iffy on Kyle Monangai. I'm not really sure. And so I know there's a lot of talk from the Bears, at least, that they're going to bring in a running back. And I've been hearing that a lot. We heard Kenneth Walker earlier in the offseason. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but it does seem like the Bears don't love Swift. So that is what you have going for you in terms of Monangai. So there might be something there. I also don't like Roschon Johnson, so I'm with you there. So there is opportunity here. Like Swift, Swift was decent last year, but Swift has, everyone knows Swift has never really been a lead RB1 in this league. He gets nicked up too much. He's just, honestly, he's like very good as a pass catcher, more so than a rusher. But Monangai, I think that's not a bad shot just because of the opportunity there. But if they bring another back, I mean, he could just be another drop. You never know.
Oh, he could be toast, right? Especially if Walker comes in. I just think, again, when you have the option to add Chubb and Dobbins, especially Dobbins. Chubb, I can see if you think he's washed, you think he's done okay. Dobbins had a really solid year last year. He was there for the taking. He didn't sign for a huge deal. I think if they were going to make a move, they would have at this point. They're going to at least give this year a trial run, see how it goes. Now, if Monangai does nothing by next year in dynasty formats, we probably will never be hearing from him again. But if he thrives, he has 12 touchdowns and is like, you know what? We have our big back. Maybe we get some explosive talent to mix with him. He could have a 10-plus touchdown like type of role for multiple seasons here. I know Toons is bringing up one of the main criticisms I see is there's that one clip where Eric Bieniemy is like, oh, you look like an old man in that drill.
Everyone saw that video.
Everybody saw it. He did look horrible in that one drill, but it was one drill. I later have seen Ben Johnson come out and say he was the most improved player, the most impressive player even in training camp so far, or OTAs rather. Training camp will be a little bit later. And I think he's going to only thrive more once those pads come on. He's not this – it's not a guy that's going to thrive in padless practice. He's looked smooth as a receiver, though, what the reports are. He's a natural pass catcher. He's the type of guy you get the pads on, let him hit, steamroll some people. He's not going to look good in padless practices. And I think he's just only gotten better since then. So I hear you, Toons. But if that means that he's going to keep falling in these drafts, I'm all for it. I don't love the player necessarily, but I love the role he could be entering into. And it's not a role that you have to be supremely talented for. You just have to push a pile. You have to get into the end zone. And I think he's the type of guy that can do that after proving it in the Big Ten competition offseason. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.